Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your cannabis business podcast. Cannabis companies say they're growing enough pot, they just can't deliver it. I keep hearing this noise about how Canada isn't able to get the supply they need, or that the sales aren't as high as they thought they were going to be. But what I'm seeing and what I'm also hearing from other sources is that its quality is terrible. If you aren't selling oil, it's probably because it's black and nobody wants to smoke it. I know that the flower is being turned back because of powdery mildew, and it's just not the quality that people are willing to pay. So a lot of this has to do with people just pushing product that consumers don't want to buy, and they're going back to their trusted market, aka black market. And it's not really about the lack of demand. We should be seeing flower in Canada dipping and oil going up. And if that's not the case, it's probably because of product quality. Organigram on Monday joined a chorus of companies saying their challenges in supplying the Canadian cannabis market is not growing massive amounts of marijuana, but transforming the plant into a product that's ready for sale. Organigram has built up its production and distribution side to match the need for pre-roll joints, especially with the automation currently running at Organigram's facilities. Ingle said the company is able to produce more than 40,000 pre-roll joints a day and has produced 2.6 million in total as of Monday. As Ingle manages to meet consumer demand for joints, however, their tastes are changing. Cannabis oils, Ingle said, are no longer a big seller and sales are slipping, but there's now a massive amount of demand for products derived from cannabidiol or CBD. There's new products coming into the market that many provinces are still struggling to ensure that there's adequate supply of what consumers are actually wanting to buy on the shelf. And there's enormous amount of uncertainty for cannabis companies. There's two new variables that will be introduced this year as edible products and vaporizers launch in the fall. Currently, it's still illegal in Canada under the Cannabis Act. Ingle said that Organigram plans to launch vapes and chocolate products, which could add more production uncertainties. Vape hardware and accessories, for example, almost exclusively produced in China, have been affected by the trade war between the US and China. While Canada continues to struggle with its quality and Oregon continues to grow more than 1 million pounds that will take Oregonians 6.5 years to consume, Washington State is nowhere near using its full cannabis growing capacity. A recent report by the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board, or LCB, surveyed 1,155 licensed commercial growers for their capacity utilization, meaning exactly how much of the space they were licensed to use were actually being used. And right there is problem number one. How many tomato farmers do you know where there's 1,200 tomato farmers in one state? Right off the bat, of course, they're not going to need to use their entire growing capacity. There's too many. 3 factors were repeatedly cited as being responsible for not utilizing the entire growth coverage. And it's interesting to note where Washington mirrors and departs from Oregon's issues. The Washington $40 ounce is alive and well, so there's concerns over overproduction, and that's moving growers from holding off on using their full production capacity. Unlike Oregon, Washington growers were unable to use the out-of-state investments. This restricted access to capital, which was a heavy burden and still is for a lot of businesses in Washington State. So those $40 ounces aren't bringing investors running either. Finally, to expand a grow space is not an inexpensive undertaking. Alex Cooley of Seattle's Solstice Cannabis estimated a cost of $100 per square foot to develop indoor grow space, but that could easily hit $250 to $300 per square foot, depending on the bells and whistles of the operation. Cannabis Trade Group in Washington has been lobbying for at least a partial lift on the out-of-state investment ban. The best solution, of course, would be for federal legalization, but what to do in the interim is still to be determined. And with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.